with midterms, how do you see it going?
I mean, I think it depends on a couple things as far as like how this war ends up going. As far as if it lasts long, you're going to lose a lot of MAGA voters just in general. So there is that. Like I said, 4 to 6 weeks, right? If you're not out, I mean, oh boy. So that can lean that way. As far as if we're out, and depending on how it depends on if we're out and how the economy is.
Can I pause you? Do you think Venezuela bears on the midterms?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
So you think it's basically Iran and the economy?
Yeah, I think it's Iran and the economy. The reason I don't think Venezuela is because that was pretty much in and out as far as that goes. Now, granted, as far as like why it was done, as far as like, oh, did we really need to go after him, this, that, and the other? You know, we can have that debate all day, but I don't think it really weighs because, I mean, it's not playing a factor now, in my opinion, right? And plus, voters and just people in general are very like short-term memory, you know, for the most part. So since it's done and over with, so to speak, or whatever, I think people are going to, for the most part, forget about it. At least your average voter, right? You know, so I don't think it plays that much of a factor. However, Iran and the economy are going to be the biggest factor because, again, especially the economy, everybody cares about what's in their wallet, you know, and how far my dollar can go.
Sorry for interrupting again. Do you think the immigration issue basically is just locked in? Like the Dems, they're not going to change their mind. The Repubs, they're just not going to change their mind.
Yeah, I think immigration for the most part, that I think has been a locked in situation.
I tend to agree.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything new that's going to happen that's going to swing somebody one way or swing somebody the other way. The only thing that potentially could happen is if the quote-unquote sleeper cells actually are activated, right? That could be one thing that potentially swings somebody towards the immigration aspect.
I see what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see.
That would be...
In other words, if there's an event of some kind and then people, let's say some independent or something, realizes, oh crap, I was wrong about this immigration issue. We need to be more hawkish.
Precisely.
So something like that.
Precisely. Something like that. That would be the only thing that I could see swinging somebody towards, we need deportations, et cetera, et cetera. Other than that, you're set where you're set. You know, unless something happens, like I said.
I think you're more right than you're wrong. The only and again, it's like I agree probably 95%. The 5 would be, there might be some Trump voters who voted in 24 who are mad about immigration. Like, well, why aren't you deporting more? And they might just be very unmotivated.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's a minority. Because I think that it's all over online. People are angry about it online.
Oh, of course.
But online doesn't always reflect, the ground.
Right.
And I do tend to think that now, again, that's its own thing. Now, what I do somewhat worry about is just apathy. Of, we got it in the bag, or it doesn't really matter, which I would say, look,
I definitely don't think we have it in the bag.
Well, I'm sorry.
I said I definitely don't think we have it in the bag. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, and there are people who do think that, though, and that's a problem. In fact, so in tail end of 2025, there were some people sounding the alarms because there were some primaries around that time. It wasn't really midterm, but it was like little local level stuff.
Right.
And someone pointed out, hey, we got problems with Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And a lot of things went the Democrats' way in Pennsylvania because I don't think anyone really cared.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. The people in this country have to think to themselves, don't think about politics every 2 years or every 4 years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a sword being wielded against us.
Yeah.
And we kind of have to get more involved than we are. And again, I'm always going to champion, even before the president, even before Congress, I'm going to champion local elections. Of course. Governor, mayor, sheriff, things like that.
Because that affects you more directly and more immediately.
And it should. I mean, there are people who, the president does stuff unconstitutionally that does unfortunately affect the whole country. But the way it should work is your governor, your mayor actually affects you in ways he does, in ways the president does set the tone. But the point is, I worry about Iran because I think that this is something I didn't say earlier but meant to. We've seen the movie of, hey, I'm a Republican president, we're going to be in and out quickly.
Yeah, of course.
We've seen that movie and it didn't go particularly well.
Right.
And I worry that since we've seen this pattern before, that there's going to be, and again, I don't think it's going to be a blue wave, but it'll be a blue controlled house. I think that could very well happen. I I just see the left getting very active on the
Hey, we're
talking
still in
points
a war,
against
et
this
cetera, et
war
cetera.
or
Yeah,
what
yeah.
or anything. But the thing is, if the economy's bad, then that's just going to add fuel to their fire.
Yeah.
Because they're going to say, well, look, they promised you this and this and this, and we're going to give you socialism, which will somehow fix it, which obviously won't. But the point is, I could see the House going blue. The Senate, I could see it being like 2019, which is, or no, more like 2018,
Right.
which was the House went, but the Senate actually gained red. I don't know if it's going to go that way, but I could see at least the Republicans holding the Senate. Maybe not by much. They may not gain, though, because I think the House, it's a bit more of a foregone conclusion. Again, it's an uphill battle of the Republicans have to not lose. I think it's theirs to lose, but they need to fight to not lose.
For sure.
And that's going to be fixing more of the inflation stuff, fixing gas prices, fixing food prices.
Yeah.
And again, in many cases, not fixing like mandating law, but backing regulations off and getting the economy roaring and humming, right?
100%.
And if that happens by November, I think that things go pretty smooth. If the economy is getting a lot better, people are hiring, which, heck, we're getting into spring, summer now.
Yep.
That's when a lot of people start having their fiscal year run out, and it needs to happen right now, pretty much. And if it doesn't, I think the Republicans are in trouble.
Yeah.
Now, if the thing is, I'm not horribly pessimistic even if the Dems get in, because if the Dems get in, it's going to basically be just a gridlock.
Of course.
Because you're going to have a Republican president and a Democrat House which is what happened back in 2018, 1920. It was basically just a gridlock.
Yep,
and the problem is, it would be wonderful to say we've not been in a gridlock already, but at the same time, Congress has basically been doing nothing. They passed the one big beautiful bill. They're not really doing anything against us.
Yeah.
Like Biden went against the January 6ers. He was arresting people and arresting pro-life protesters, which was bizarre. So they're not doing that, which is a positive. But on the other hand, other than passing the one big beautiful bill, it's been basically nothing.
Yeah.
And therefore, if the Dems get in, they're going to try to do stuff, but they can't really, because the Senate probably won't be in their hands, or even if it is, Trump will be president.
Yeah.
And even if they're the majority party, you still got the minority pushing against them.
Yep.
So I'm not that freaked out if the Dems get in. Now, what does, again, they can do things, but they're going to get stonewalled and paused again, unless they take the Senate too, in which case there's a little bit more cause.
Yeah.
But Trump can still try to do executive orders and what have you.
Right.
Now,
if they take the House and the Senate, he's getting impeached.
That will be, that's the only thing about that. They could potentially try to get people, get a rise out of people enough where he gets impeached. And again,
I think this time it will go through.
If he gets impeached, it's different than removal.
Yeah.
But if they control both, he could potentially.
Yeah. I think we are.
So that would be one concern, but I don't know. The fact that Congress is basically a dead duck when the Republicans are in there.
Well, yeah.
It's really hard to be passionate about it, other than they're doing less bad, which is a very low bar because the Democrats are so terrible.
Right.
So that's the way I basically see things going. And any other thoughts on the midterms? I know, at least for our part of South Carolina, it looks like Lindsey Graham's going to get it because Trump endorsed Lindsey Graham.